Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Bianca, and for the first 24 years of my life, I was involved in a high-demand church organization called the Potter's House. And I'm here to talk about it. Also, no, not the TV Jake situation. Welcome to episode 1 of B.I.T.E Model Moments. Thank you for clicking. If you haven't seen my intro video yet, I highly suggest you go and watch that first, as that has all the important background info you're going to need for this video. If you didn't notice, it's been quite some time since I made that intro. I had high hopes of posting regularly after that, and life just had other plans. I've made some pretty significant life changes since then, one of which is a small change to the title of this series. I just felt like my personal experiences described by the B.I.T.E model felt a little too wordy to be a catchy title in today's algorithm-driven society. And I was just sitting there one day, minding my own business, and it just kind of popped into my head, B.I.T.E Model Moments, because this series is to talk about the moments in my life that fit into the B.I.T.E model of authoritarian control. Just a quick disclaimer, everything in this video is my own opinion. I am going to share my personal experiences that really happened to me in hopes that you can make an informed decision on whether or not you want to join this organization or others like it. You should also assume a trigger warning at the beginning of any of my videos, as I will be discussing the religious trauma that I personally experienced. Today we aren't going to be getting into too many deeply troubling topics, but just know we will be discussing religious control. And lastly, I just want to reiterate why I've chosen to embark on this journey. Because I grew up in this organization, I didn't know I deserved better. And it wasn't until I got a little older and found some resources that described healthy relationships that I was able to make an informed decision to leave. I want to add my voice and perspective for those that might be searching for some real answers that have nothing to do with the Bible. Today, we are starting with the B in B.I.T.E model, which stands for behavior control. And the first item on that list that I personally experienced is number 2, which states an organization will dictate where, how, and with whom the member lives and associates. I'm going to be breaking this down into 3 sections: where, how, and whom. Starting with where. While the Potter's House didn't necessarily tell people which home to rent or buy, there wasn't a commune or anything like that, there was significant pressure that you needed to live within a comfortable distance of the church that you started in. For instance, when I was born, my family was already a part of what we're going to call Church A. When I was 10, we moved to another state to start Church B. When we were finished pastoring, it was expected that we would return to Church A. That wasn't an option, it's just how it was. Another example of this is when someone was considering moving, they were cautioned to stay close to the church. I remember times when someone was searching for a job, and if they found a job that was really great but was too far away, they were often counseled to not take that job. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here and jump over to whom. Once you're settled somewhere that the church has constant access to you, they begin to put a little pressure on about who you spend your time with. Now, I grew up in this organization, so parts of this are just ingrained in my worldview. I have this memory that's basically just an overlay of all the sermons that I've heard where they mentioned or talked about choosing who you want to trust or associate with. There's several scriptures they use to really drive this point home, but They're basically all the same. A wise man seeks guidance from his nearest untouchable authority figure, while a foolish man only trusts those who know him best. Or something like that. So, church-approved associates only. Also, side note, family members are not off limits from being off limit. And finally, the how. You might have already guessed this, but your primary interactions with people should be at church, doing church activities, or doing church-related activities. You should eat, sleep, and breathe church activities. But of course, if you say it like that, then they correct you. No, it's not about church. People can go to church their whole lives and still go to hell. It's about your relationship with God, which is evident by how much time you spend at church. Makes sense, right? Now, if you've made it this far and you're thinking, I'm exhausted, same, which is why I want to take a minute and talk about the effects of some of this, because it manifested in a couple of different ways. We'll start at the top again with where. I lived with my parents until I was about 19 or so, and then I moved in with my grandmother. I moved in with her because as a young single woman, I didn't make enough at my full-time job to afford my own place. So one might ask, well, why not get roommates? To which I would say, great question. And the answer is there weren't any other single young ladies my age who were looking for roommates. To which you might follow up with, well, why not look outside the church? Guess what? That wasn't even an option in my brain. Of all the categories that are in my brain, living with someone who isn't part of the church just wasn't one of them. Now, you could argue that that was just one of my personal idiosyncrasies, that I was just young and so foolishly devoted to this organization that I was too stupid to come up with that idea. And sure, you could argue that. But guess what else? No one suggested it either. And I think that's all I really need to say about that. On to the whom. This one created probably the most anxiety for me. Every person that I met was constantly being filtered through the lens of, are they wise enough? Are they Christian enough? And unfortunately, this one still has a pretty big holdover. I still feel that anxiety when I meet a new person. I still run through all those mental gymnastics to decide if this person is trustworthy or not. Today, the reasons are a little different, but the feeling is still very much the same. And the how takes a little bit of a turn. As all of those friendships were connected to the church and I no longer go there, I lost almost my entire support system. All the people I thought were friends, all those that I considered family, the how ceased to exist. I've had to build a new and very different how that doesn't involve the church, and it's been a difficult journey. I've had to make new friends, gather a new support system, and slowly adjust my worldview. I'm happy to say that it's going very well. I'm making constant progress that I'm proud of, and I'm excited for the future. So, how to wrap this all up? Have I conveyed that, in my personal opinion, the Potter's house controlled people's behavior? The ways that they exerted control were often subtle and hard for me to pinpoint. You know, when they're telling you not to take that job, or to stop talking to that person, or to distance yourself from that friend, it's because they care so much about your eternal soul and they just want what's best for you. And I believed that. I really did. Sometimes it's embarrassing for me to admit how strongly I believed that they just cared about me. And I'm hearing my therapist's voice reminding me that I need to be compassionate on myself. I believed those things because that's what kept me safe. I had to believe that so my brain would overlook the red flags and meet the status quo so that I wouldn't get yelled at or disowned. And I just need you to know that that is not okay. It's not okay for someone to treat you that way. Only you know what is absolutely best for you. And if someone is trying to sway you in your decisions, it might be time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Does this person have something to gain by convincing you? Does it feel like you're making this decision to make someone else happy and not necessarily because it's what's best for you? Are you saying something along the lines of, well, he knows better because fill in the blank? If you answered yes to any of those, it's possible you could be in an unhealthy relationship with church, another person, whatever. Maybe you're thinking, well, that's not something to leave a church over, and you'd be right. I would also like you to keep in mind that this is only the first episode, the first of many. If this has piqued your interest and you want to hear a few more of the reasons that contributed to why I decided to leave, stay tuned. My hope is to be uploading a little bit more regularly, but in case that doesn't happen, if you subscribe and click the little bell icon, then you can get notified about my sporadic postings. Just a thought, if that's something that you're interested in. And that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please tune in to the next one.